The maintenance bay of the Karachi's Pride hummed with the familiar sounds of humanity's expansion into the void. Welding torches, hydraulic lifts, and Adnan's perpetual complaints about the coffee synthesizer. "I'm telling you, Nihal," he said, crawling out from beneath a damaged hull plating. "Whoever programmed this thing to make Earth-standard Colombian should be court-martialed. It tastes like recycled coolant." Nihal barely glanced up from her holographic display, fingers dancing through complex shield harmonics. "Maybe if you spent less time complaining and more time actually fixing things, we could afford real coffee when we dock at Titan Station," says the woman who's been staring at those same energy patterns for 3 hours. Adnan wiped his hands on his coveralls, leaving streaks of grease that would probably never come out. "What's got you so focused anyway?" Before Nihal could answer, the ship's proximity alarms began their urgent wail. Emergency lighting bathed the maintenance bay in angry red, and Captain Morrison's voice crackled through the comm system. "All hands to stations. Unknown vessel approaching. Configuration, unknown. Size." A pause that stretched too long. "Massive." Nihal's fingers froze over her display. Through the maintenance bay's small viewport, something was blotting out the stars. Something that seemed to go on forever, its surface covered in patterns that hurt to look at directly. "That's not a ship," Adnan whispered. "That's a city." "No, wait," his voice dropped even lower. "That's a world." The Karachi's Pride shuddered as tractor beams locked onto its hull. Nihal's shield display erupted in cascading warnings as something probed their defenses with casual, overwhelming power. She did what any good engineer would do. She started reinforcing everything she could. "Nihal, what are you doing?" Adnan grabbed her shoulder. "Whatever that thing is, our shields aren't going to—" "They're not trying to destroy us," she said, her training taking over even as her hands shook. "Look at the resonance patterns. They're curious, gentle even. They're just so much stronger than anything we've built that—" The ship lurched violently to port. Through the viewport, they could see the alien vessel's docking bay opening like a flower made of liquid metal and impossible geometries. As they were drawn inside, Nihal caught a glimpse of the beings waiting for them. They were tall, elegant, with an almost feline grace to their movements. But what captured her attention was their tails. Long, sinuous appendages that seemed to contain more delicate neural pathways than a human brain. The tails moved with purpose, occasionally touching other beings in what appeared to be some form of communication. One figure stood apart from the others. Larger, more ornate, with a tail that pulsed with bioluminescent patterns. Even at this distance, Nihal could feel the weight of authority radiating from the creature. "That's their leader," she breathed. Minutes later, they found themselves in what could only be described as a throne room, though the architecture defied human understanding. The alien queen, for that's what she had to be, regarded them with eyes like liquid starlight. When she spoke, her words formed directly in their minds. "Welcome, small builders of metal shells. I am Zarathes, conductor of the Void Gardens. You interest me." Captain Morrison stepped forward, but before he could speak, one of the Queen's advisors gestured dismissively. A barrier of energy separated the captain from the rest of the crew, leaving only Nihal and Adnan standing before the throne. "These two," the Queen's mental voice continued, "they touched our sensors. The male's crude repairs created harmonics we had not heard in millennia. But the female—" Those starlight eyes focused on Nihal. "The female reinforced her people's defenses in a pattern that complemented our probe frequencies perfectly. Fascinating." Nihal felt her cheeks burn. "I was just trying to keep the ship together." Modesty. The Queen's tail swished with what might have been amusement. "Do you understand what you achieved, little engineer? In the span of moments you created shield harmonics that synchronized with our scanning protocols. Your species should not possess such intuitive understanding of multidimensional energy matrices." The Queen rose from her throne and began to descend the steps. As she moved, Nihal noticed something that made her heart race. The Queen's magnificent tail was dragging slightly, favoring what appeared to be an injured section near the base. Without thinking, Nihal stepped forward and activated her personal shield generator. The device, normally used to protect engineers from plasma leaks and radiation exposure, expanded to encompass the Queen's tail, creating a gentle protective barrier around the injured area. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Every alien in the room froze. The Queen's eyes widened and her tail curled in what could only be shock. "You," Shielded my tail. It looked hurt, Nahal said simply. I could see the neural pathways were inflamed. The shield's resonance frequency should help reduce the inflammation while promoting cellular regeneration. For a long moment, the only sound was Adnan's quiet muttering of what sounded like prayers in 3 different languages. In 4,000 cycles of my reign, the Queen's mental voice was barely a whisper. No being has ever. The tale contains our deepest thoughts, our most private selves. To shield another's tale without being asked is, did I mess up? Nahal asked, suddenly realizing she might have committed some cosmic cultural taboo. The Queen's laughter was like music played on crystal chimes. Mess up? Little engineer, you have just performed the highest honor one being can show another. Among my people, to shield another's tale is to offer complete protection of their most vulnerable self. It is a sacred. Zarathes moved closer, her injured tail now completely enclosed within Nahal's protective field. And it works? The pain that has plagued me for cycles is already diminishing. Your understanding of biocompatible energy fields is remarkable. Nahal, Adnan whispered urgently, what exactly did you just do? Before she could answer, the Queen addressed her again. I cannot simply let you leave, little engineer. Your knowledge, your instincts, they are too valuable. But more than that, the Queen's tail brushed gently against the shield, sending ripples of light through the barrier. Your compassion is rarer than any metal we could mine from dead stars. Your Majesty, Captain Morrison called out from behind his energy barrier. My engineer has duties to her ship, her crew. Peace, metal shell captain. The Queen waved a hand and the barrier around Morrison dissolved. I do not speak of imprisonment. I speak of partnership, exchange. Your engineer has much to learn from us and we have forgotten what it means to heal rather than simply endure. Nahal looked back at her crewmates, then at the alien Queen whose tail remained trustingly within her shield. She thought about humanity's long journey to the stars, about the courage it took to reach out and touch the unknown. What kind of partnership? She asked. The Queen's smile was radiant. The kind where a small human teaches an ancient queen that sometimes the greatest technology is simply caring enough to help. Stay, learn our sciences, share your wisdom, and perhaps. The Queen's tail brushed the shield again, sending more ripples of light cascading through the barrier. Perhaps teach us to see the universe through compassionate eyes once more. Adnan stepped up beside Nahal, still shaking his head in amazement. You know, he said quietly, I always said you were too nice for your own good. I just never thought it would literally change the course of galactic diplomacy. Nahal grinned, watching as the inflammation in the Queen's tail continued to diminish under her shield's gentle care. Guess that's what happens when humans stop trying to conquer the universe and start trying to fix it instead. Indeed, Queen Zarathes agreed, her mental voice warm with newfound hope. Indeed. And in the vast throne room of an ancient alien vessel, surrounded by technology beyond human comprehension, a simple act of kindness began to rewrite the story of 2 species. One that had forgotten how to heal, and another that had never forgotten how to care.